Good morning, everyone. So today is a very casual video because all I'm trying to do is test my intro to my YouTube videos and my outro. And I've created these darling little art journal kind of intro, outro things that I just had to try out, and I want to know what you think. And I thought I'd still tell you a story. Today I had a beautiful wildlife experience. We have sandhill cranes that nest in the property behind us to the west, and they come every year, and most years they have young. This year they have 2 babies. So every time we go out walking anywhere near the back there, or even over to the north, we check out if the sandhill cranes, I'm talking about me and the dog, not the royal we. The sandhill cranes sometimes graze in the field up there as well. Today, they were grazing on our property in our field, and I didn't notice them because they're very tall like the grass, right? And if their heads are down, you can't see them anyway because the grass is covering them. So the only one who had his head up was Dad, checking everything out to make sure everything was safe. Well, Merlin, the dog, caught sight of him and went bark, 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 which made the sandhill crane go wah, wah. He has this amazing prehistoric sound that he makes. Of course, he did end up making them fly, and they're such huge birds, it takes them this huge curving flight to get around. So they make that noise the whole way, this honking, beautiful honking noise. So there they went, all 4 of them flying around to the other field. But today's wildlife sighting is nothing next to yesterday's. I have just had a bonanza of dream arc animals come in because the crane is actually my vision bird for my evolution key. And that is the vision of mythical presence. So there's the crane. And then yesterday, I mean, it's great to be able to walk twice a day. And I'm just walking on my property. We have about 23 acres of both woodland and field. And the dog and I take 2 walks a day and go that way in the morning and that way in the evening, slightly different each time to, vary it up. Yesterday, we were walking, and out in the field, we met a hawk, and it's a young hawk. It's a baby. Last year I had a hawk there. I called him Chatty Hawk because every time I walked by, he was in one. I mean, he could fly. He just couldn't, he had fledged. He just couldn't fly everywhere. So he just talked and talked and talked to me. And sometimes he literally would follow me he'd go from tree to tree to tree as I was walking. So this year I heard a young hawk sound, and I looked up in the trees where Chatty Hawk last year had been, and lo and behold, there was a baby. And not a baby. I mean, they grown to size, but the call itself was immature. And so I figure it might be Chatty Hawk's young, or if nothing else, a brother or sister. Then we're heading back home in the morning, and we hit the driveway. And if anyone saw my video last week about the deer showing the stag, anyway, the stag, he's been hanging around our place, and he was right there in the driveway. And of course, the dog saw him first, of course, and chased him. But it wasn't much of a chase because he is a puppy. Merlin chased him into the woods first and then out into the fields, where I had a little bit of a panic attack because the fields do go to the road. but Merlin came back when I called him. So that was morning, right? Speaking of which, could be the deer. You are not going to believe this. It's the buck. That's exactly who was there, just as I was talking about the buck and Merlin chasing him. This animal synchronicity is just such a delight. Oh my goodness. And of course I am in the Dream Arc retreat, and this week is ritual week, so perhaps they are all giving me messages. So in the Dream Arc, Richard calls the buck a stag. Self-empowered authority is his message. And the hawk is, yeah, I'm going with the peregrine falcon for that one. Vision of the third eye. So that's Gene Key 17, the empowered self-empowered authority is Gene Key 21. The stag, Gene Key 20 is the crane. And but I'm not done with yesterday yet, because then on our walk at night, we're walking back the opposite way, right? And I decided to go a little bit different way in through the middle of the forest instead of around the end of the forest. We don't always go that way. So we're walking in the middle of the forest, a lot of grass around us, and all of a sudden a deer pops up out of the grass and races away. Of course, Merlin follows this beautiful little doe. She's a white-tailed deer. Our beautiful stag is a mule-eared deer. He has huge ears. And anyway, this beautiful white-tailed doe just went flying off, and Merlin went flying after her, and they had a merry chase, and Merlin came back when I called pretty quickly. But at that time, when Merlin was off chasing the deer, all of a sudden I look at my woods, and a huge bird comes through very softly, gliding through the woods. And that's an owl. We have great horned owls here, and I haven't seen or heard an owl for months and months. So that was a very rare sighting. That's beautiful. And I know it's an owl because, first of all, the size, but that it was so low in the woods, and it was such a soft flight. My hawk never goes that low in the woods, although it's the size of a hawk. So, oh my God. So here we go. The deer is actually one of mine, Gene Key 22, and the deer is the power of graciousness. So I saw a stag and a deer, a hawk. A hawk and an owl will share the same territory, because the hawk hunts in the daylight and the owl hunts at night. So the owl is 48, and it's the vision of spontaneous wisdom. So in my mornings, I have the third eye, this vision of the third eye, the seeing beyond sight, right? And this self-empowered authority, this influence of self-empowered authority. And then in the evening, I get this power of graciousness, and then this spontaneous wisdom. And then today I get this presence, just this vision of mythical presence. So clearly all of these animals are coming in to bless me in this ritual week that I'm having with a Dream Arc, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I thought, why not share them with you while I'm sharing that intro and outro on my video, which I'm applying to this one. So you have a great week, and may your week be filled with animal sightings. It just occurs to me that the animal that is in this story throughout the whole thing is my dog, Merlin, and the dog is my purpose, Gene Key 37, and he is all about cheerful equanimity. My own personal dog is more about being a fur rocket. He has yet to grow into that equanimity. However, I'm learning so much from him. So, again, goodbye.